Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Under the Scope. It's Saturday. We here again. I'm your host, Kimberlon B, and this is my most favoriteest day of the week. Two reasons, and I posted this on Facebook. One, it's the weekend for most of us, although I did work today. And two, Under the Scope is on. And that's one of the best Zoom shows here on the planet today. And I am glad to have not only influential people on my show that's talking about their talents and their skills and everything, and they talk about mental health, but because I have influential people here that come and support me every Saturday. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. So, about me really fast, Kimberlon V. I'm a licensed professional counselor in Phoenix, Arizona. I've been in the field for the longest, since 2012. I work with general mental health, whether it's anxiety, depression. I work with substance use. I work with co-occurring conditions. That's when people have the best of both worlds. And I mean, no stone is left unturned. Children, teens, adults, I work with them all because I believe that each and every person have what's inside of them to reach their potential. So Under the Scope is a Scopecast. I created this Scopecast to bring influential people here to this platform and give all of my guests an opportunity to ask questions. Under the Scope is for conversational, inspirational, and educational purposes. And any information that we talk about on this show does not substitute for getting a higher level of care if you need it. Also, this platform is non-judgmental. Say what you want to say, how you want to say it, ask questions what you want to say, as long as it's not disrespectful to the speaker or anyone else that's in this platform. Um, Few housekeeping rules. One, participate. Two, participate. Three, three, we have the chat function. So I'll ask our guests questions, and you can either put your questions in the chat or put your name, and you'll have that opportunity to ask questions at the end, or if our guests ask you to answer, feel free to answer. And last but not least, participate and have fun and invite others. So without further ado, I have a special guest on the show. Oh, but wait, before I get there, this is a new month. Okay, this is a new month for Under the Scope. August was awesome. September was the bomb.com. October is going to be off the chain with the guests that we have. So we have the fabulous Sharmayne Bolling that's here with us today, talking about forgiving ourselves. We have, during the month of October, a breast cancer survivor. We have domestic violence survivors, because I do believe in recognizing everything that's going on around us and bringing it to the show. So I'm excited about what we have to come, and I'm excited that Sharmayne is here today with us and that she said yes to come on the show. And I like to, before I turn it over to her to introduce, the way I stalk Sharmayne, and I tease everybody that comes on the show, that I said everybody I bring on the show that I actually stalk them. I go to their page, and I noticed your book when I think all of the clinicians were posting books, and I was like, oh my gosh, her book sounds like amazing, so I have to get the book. And during that time, I was doing like an online book study, and then God gave me the idea, why don't you just do the show? You've been wanting to do a show. So I started doing the show, and I guess that aligned, or I shouldn't say I guess, that aligned with God's purpose, because everyone started saying yes, 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 yes. And I'm like, thank you for yes, because I have no speaker budget. Thank you. But and so I reached out to Sharmayne, and I was like, here, this is who I am, can you come on the show? And she was like, I can come on, but she says I'm not fully licensed. I'm like, I need your book. So I was glad that she said yes. So without further ado, I'd like to give the floor over to Sharmayne Bolling, author of I always mess it up, The Moment I Forgave Her.
That's right. You got it.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, my name is Sharmayne Bolling. Hello, everyone. I just want to say thank you to Kim for actually inviting me on and feeling that what actually God gave me to put out into the earth was good enough to actually be a part of what God gave you. So that's actually an honor. And obviously, what He gave you, what He gave me, we coincided, so He let us meet on the same path. So I'm definitely honored, and God being so real that He does these things. So it's just amazing excitement. But I am a resident of, I call myself a border child because I grew up in Ohio, but I live right on the border of Ohio and Pennsylvania. So I also have dwellings in Pennsylvania. So it is what it is. I'm from 2 different states, but I don't know how that goes. But anyway, it is what it is. Been a resident here for a while. I went to the University of Akron in Akron, Ohio. Got my master's from Capella University in counseling studies. And with my degrees, I have been able to work with the youth population, ages birth to adolescence. And with that, I've worked on several different platforms, working in the pre-K setting, working in the therapeutic setting, and also working in the school setting as well, because some of my jobs have actually coordinated children that have behaviors and they're placed in a specific home environment, and they also have the school that goes along with that component. So I was able to do that. And currently, right now, I am a behavioral consultant, and I work with children who have been diagnosed with different behavioral issues on a large spectrum. So right now, I actually manage these cases, have about 17 clients, and I manage their cases and make sure that their needs are met in school, in the home, make sure the family's needs are met. And then I also help the therapeutic staff support. They're the one-on-ones with the client. So I help them as well to make sure that the students are displaying more regulation in the home, in the school, things as such. And there's other things that go along with it, but that's the short version. I have a nonprofit called Pretty Girls Inc., and I work with girls ages 3 to 18. And the whole platform is to help them maintain a high positive self-image. And in that, we work on a variety of different things to just help them. And we actually plant seeds to help them develop higher esteem in themselves so that they can accomplish anything that they want to, because they're strong in who they are. I have an online boutique that I run as well. So I help women and cater to their needs. Anything that they need with accessories or, fashion. I do personal shopping to help them. They're like, they send me pictures like, hey, can you find this for me? I find it for them. They're like, okay, I'm ready to order. So I do that as well. I'm active in my church. I have 2 books out. So God is good. I think I've been talking too much.
No, we love. No.
I have a lot going on, but God has just allowed me and just has gifted me, and I'm honored that He even chose me as His vessel to do all these different things. So here we are. Thanks, Kim, and then we can jump into the book. So that's
We can
me.
jump into the book. There's so many things that you have mentioned, like right now, just a small segue that I think can resonate. We have a teacher on the line. My daughter's on the line.
Okay.
She would teach and she teaches special ed. And
Mm-hmm.
we have Sherry. She's not only an author, but she does the fashion and matching stuff together as well. So you talk
Awesome.
about the network, and it's just
Yes.
amazing.
Sisterhood. I love it.
Yes. So you mentioned that you wrote 2 books.
Yes.
All right. So I have 1 book.
Yes.
So tell me about the first book, and then I'll ask you about this book that I love.
Okay. Well, the first book is called Highway to Healing, and I actually wrote that book, and it actually was healing for me, because I actually spoke my truth, and I actually faced some of the traumatic situations that I had to go through from birth to adulthood. And in that book, I give some real life stories about myself. And it was hard because I said, you know how some of us are, we don't want anybody in our business.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to be quiet about it and just stay to ourselves. But God had another way, and I exposed that book. And in that book, I did not make myself the victim or just put woe is me, oh, I went through this, feel bad for me. I actually used that pain and turned it into purpose to showcase that we may face some traumatic experiences that caused me to seek counseling, to, you know, get through some of the issues that I dealt with. So in that, the whole point of me putting that out there to showcase that a highway never ends, which means healing is continuous. And if you actually just sit down and hone in on what has happened and just take some time to walk through it at your own pace, and, you know, like you said, seek another level of care, whatever it takes, but just moment by moment, get through that, healing will come. So that's pretty much what that book is about. It's just, I use myself, I guess, as a canvas to put myself out there. And the book has really, from those who have said it to me, it actually helped a lot of my friends and family to actually face some of their challenges and for them to start the process of healing. So that's what the first book is about. And in the way of that first book, this is kind of a spinoff of The Moment I Forgave Her, because in my healing process, now I'm forgiving me. So.
I like that. What I really like what you said about the healing part, that healing, it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably a healing process that can happen throughout life.
Absolutely.
Which means when it comes to this healing from whatever you need to heal from, it's not immediate. You will experience like the ups and downs, thoughts and regrets and all of this. And like you said, the spinoff of the, you know, forgiving yourself.
Right.
And so that was why I got the book, The Moment I Forgave Her, because it caught my attention, because forgiveness of oneself is so crucial.
It is. It's
And
hard.
it's, even though, yes, that's what I just was about to say. Even though it's like we need to forgive ourselves, it's one of the hardest things to do. It's so much easier for us to forgive others. But when it comes to us, and it's hard for us to forgive what other people have done to us. You
Right.
know, we're hard on ourselves, and we're definitely our worst critics. So without giving the book away, because I want people to buy the book, can you share a little bit about the book?
Sure. Through the book, through the journey, I basically just, as I said, if you read the first one, you'll probably have a better understanding of the second one. If you read the second one first, it's okay, but they coincide a little bit. So this book, I basically just broke down the different stages that I went through in order to forgive myself. There was a lot of shame I had because of the mistakes I made, who I possibly made those mistakes with, or the friendships, and, you know, kind of beating myself up because I possibly had allowed that person to get too much of my time. And it's time that I can't get back. As you know, our lovely Maxine Waters, I'm reclaiming my time. I couldn't do that. So with that being said, I had to, I walked through a journey of how to do that, how to, some of the titles, how to block out the noise. I actually have the book right here, so I can kind of read a couple of titles. Acceptance, The Mistakes Don't Define Her, Block Out the Noise, Get to Know Your Strengths and Weaknesses, Start Over, Mental Exercise, Power Lies Within, Fight to Live, Embrace Her. So with all the different chapters I gave, those are just some journeys that I went through. And then I also just kind of give some tools that you can use to actually start the process of forgiving yourself. Because like we both said, forgiving yourself is so hard, because shame comes, trauma comes, then the unrest comes, because at nighttime, when it gets too quiet and your thoughts go and you can't sleep because you're just like, oh, I wish I would have did it this way, or I wish I never met that person because now, you know, I'm connected to that person now, or now I have to always remember, you know, just different things. So you have to figure out different ways to break down those traumatic experiences and actually know it's okay to go through the process of forgiving yourself. Because until you do that, you're never going to keep going. And then you'll wonder why this person or certain people possibly are advancing, more or less, and not just walking in their victory, or just walking and just like, you know what, it is what it is. I made a mistake. I'm not perfect. I got to keep walking, because there's purpose that has to be fulfilled. But not everybody's that strong. So I wanted to actually, and I didn't get like this overnight either. So let me just put that out there. I actually, went through some things, and that's why Highway to Healing is continuing, like you said. And then now in that process of healing, I had to forgive me. It's a continuous process. But I wanted to put something out there to just encourage somebody that it's okay if you have to continue to heal. It's okay. It's a part of a healthy process, actually. Both of us coming from the mental health world, you have to do that. You have to come to a point of balance and aligning yourself, and really you have to stop sometimes, and it's okay. It doesn't mean that you're not going to reach that goal, or you're not closer to, maybe a financial increase because you have to stop. Sometimes you have to be able to have that strength to do what, your purpose to do. So, yep, that's pretty much what the book is about.
I really like what you were saying. And, I just keep going back to that healing and that forgiving me. I like to always say when we talk about healing that it does take time. So people could either have scabs or scars. So scabs is when we get to that place where we say we may forgive ourselves, but then we're still holding on to that baggage that's stopping us from fully moving into that place of forgiveness. And every little thing, whether it's finances, friendships, broken relationships, it just picks that scab off. Not to get too gross, but it does. It just picks that scab off. And once we get on that highway to healing, I'm going to have to get that book too, and work on that healing process. That's when the scabs start to form. And generally when the scab is formed, I mean, you probably have to dig real hard to reopen it, but that scab means it is healed, and it's that memory of that you have gone through that experience, but you have healed through that experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I really like that. And I know you had mentioned starting over. And when I was reading the book, everyone get the book again. In chapter 5, you talked about starting over, and that actually caught my attention, because when it comes to the moment I forgive her, which is me, the forgiving process, there is a starting over process. And I wanted to just share with everyone in my best reading voice an excerpt that you had in that chapter, and if you could just elaborate on like why you put it in the chapter and what it means. So this is an excerpt from Eric Maisel, PhD. Okay, so we won't get sued. I said his name. It is certainly the case that the itchy rash may be the only thing on our mind. Still, we do not choose to have it define us. We know that it would be a fundamental mistake and a misunderstanding to say, I am rash. The sadness may likewise be the only thing on our mind, and yet here we find it easy and maybe even convenient to say, I am depressed. Yeah, I am anxious, right? I threw that one in. Um, um, it is almost as if we want to distance ourselves from the possibility that the sadness is caused by something that we might need to address. And that's true. So can you elaborate on that?
Yes, I think in the starting over process, it is very imperative, and actually it's okay to actually admit and to address what happened. No matter if you possibly initiated it, or if somebody initiated it that you trust and they gave you maybe the behaviors that they were trustworthy, but possibly they were not, So I think it is okay in that starting over process to actually admit what happened. I think sometimes we try to forget that it happened and suppress it, which I have suppressed many situations, but I actually had to come to the realization and actually face that, what happened, and admit that it happened. So with me admitting that it happened, how can I now, moving forward, how can I do better? Or out loud, just saying that it happened, and let that shame start to break off of you,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I think sometimes I'm probably going to use the word shame a lot, because I think that kind of denounces sometimes who we are, who we're meant to be, and what we are supposed to achieve or what we can achieve, because we walk around with this shame, and it turns into, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm, I'll never, just different negative connotations that we continue to muster up and we say, and when we look at ourselves in the mirror, that's what we see, and then that's what we believe, versus just admitting whatever that is, and start to let that shame chip off of you. And then before you know it, you start to rejuvenate, you start to reset, you start over, all the RE words.
Yes.
You start to refill, so I think that's why I put that in there, because it was so important just to admit that it happened. It may still be there, you may still have some feelings or some thoughts or some connections. It's okay, but that's a part of the healing process. We have to admit and say, this is what happened, and do it by yourself. It doesn't, you don't have to, be around anybody if you don't have that, if you're not ready for another level of care. We'll put it that way. And I say that because not everybody's ready to, seek counseling or seek other options. So if you're alone, just start saying those things, by yourself. It's start chipping those things away by yourself, so that's why I put that in there.
I'm glad that you threw that in too, because again, like we were saying earlier, we talk about it's easier to forgive other people in most cases, but when it comes to ourselves, it is hard. And we may not get to that place, start one. We may not even fully get to that place. Um, but start, and it will be hard. You may try and may think that you're doing really well, and then something happens, then you're not. And especially when that chain, like you mentioned, attaches to those I am statements. And we're not talking about the positive affirmations, the I am not good enough, I am not statements. And
Right.
whatever happens attaches to that. And so if you get knocked down once, or if you like, oh my gosh, I got depressed again, no, just get up. It is that highway to healing. So I really like that, and like that you emphasize that, especially with the shame. It happened.
Yeah.
It happened. Trauma, sometimes we don't realize how it affects us, but when we do, it is ugly to look at. It's not a good feeling. It's not going to give us butterflies on the inside. It will make us feel disgusting, even though other people may have done something to us, or we may have put ourselves in a situation that wasn't the best situations.
Right.
But just get through that shame. And there is so much freedom in saying it happened. And we're not glorifying what happened, because some of it is disgusting and ugly, hurtful, painful. And I get it, but it's painful anyway on the inside. It hurts anyway. It stops me from fully experiencing joy and happiness anyway. But either do it alone, like Sharmayne was saying, or it's hard to do it around family and friends unless they're neutrally supportive, because people are supportive, but then you don't have to feel that way. It's not your fault, and blah, blah, and they'll try to fix it for you. And that's what we do, because your loved ones love you. You may have to go into that therapy room and say, this happened to me, and this is how I feel, and get to that place of it happened. And I'm glad that you said in your book that you had the chapter acceptance in there. So yeah, I'm so glad. Everybody that comes on Under the Scope, I ask them the same question, and there's no right or wrong answer. But what is your definition of mental health?
That's a good question, because we always read the,
Textbook
educated
version.
answer.
Yeah.
Mental health. What is my definition of mental health? Okay. I think the definition of mental health is well, you know what? The definition of mental health, I'll say, is being triggered by something that you may not be able to handle alone.
Mm-hmm.
You may need extra support.
Okay.
I think that would be mental health.
Yes.
And I think that's on a large spectrum as well, you know, because mental health, some may be able to, like, for instance, let me just give an example. Mental health. So if I maybe feel anxious or possible burnout, I started to, still learning, but I bought an acoustic guitar. So my therapy was to get on YouTube or different apps and learn how to play the guitar, because that was just my outlet. So I was able to get out of that through, just a therapeutic way.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the other side of the spectrum of mental health is being triggered by something and you do need that extra support on contact. So I think that's the difference in mental health, but
Mm-hmm.
yes. Mm-hmm.
I like that. And what role do you see forgiving yourself? What role do you think that plays into mental health?
I think it plays a huge part because I think with those triggering thoughts, as like I said, I'm gonna say shame a lot because that's just what stops it or stops us or whoever. Um, I think it will help to play a part of decreasing. And there's a chapter in there called hold on, let me make sure I say it right because I wrote the book, so that would be so embarrassing. um, Block out the noise, and I have in
Yes.
parentheses people. So I think the book will help in terms of sometimes those daily mental battles that we have to unplug sometimes. We can talk about social media. We can talk about the media, COVID, different cultures and races. Some of us, are targeted a little bit more than others. There's a lot going on in our world, friendships and family, and shame from 29 years ago, shame from yesterday, shame from today.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times that noise, it affects. But if you have an outlet that can, give you some exercises or help you to see, wow, I'm not alone. That happened to you too? Okay. I might be able to, do this, or let me see what you did. Let me try, but at least that gets you to kind of decrease that noise a little bit and try something different to see if you can, kind of cope. That's the word, cope with what's
Yes.
going on. So that's a mental, coping skill. So I think that can kind of help a little bit, just one tool out of the 1,000, but I think it can help.
Yes, coping again to
Mm-hmm.
reinforce what you were saying. It may not go away. We may forgive, but we may not forget. But just coping through it, if those
Mm-hmm.
thoughts happen, or if we experience those emotions, or pass by somewhere and something were to, jump out and just trigger us,
Mm-hmm.
having ways to cope with that. So
Right.
you brought up a good point. So yeah. All right. So let me see. I know that was it for my general questions. Do you have anything else that you want to throw in? And everyone, I'm opening up the floor after Sharmayne's statements. Anything else you want to throw in about forgiving yourself, healing, or anything else?
I just think everybody should be aware. I think sometimes we put pressure on ourselves, and I just think we need to sometimes decrease that pressure and know that you're not alone in this walk, in this fight. There's somebody else that's going through the same thing, or it's okay to not be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's huge because I'm a person of sometimes I put too much pressure on myself. I'm like, oh, I missed the mark. I should have did it this way. But it's just like, hey, like the other day at work, I dropped the ball. I was supposed to deliver information to a parent. for them to complete, a meeting. And I was at the cusp of just like, oh, do better. You should have did this better. You should have, and I was like, you know what? I made a mistake. Let me see next time how I can do better with giving the information, And I just chalked it up. I called the parent and she's like, oh, what happened? I said, you know what? I took an L. I made a mistake. I was supposed to give you the information. However, here's another alternative option. We can work it out this way. And it's still going to work out. It's just, we didn't do it the first way. And I just had to water off my back. I just had to keep going. You know what I mean? Sometimes we just have to, it happened. And it's not easy all the time. Please don't get me wrong when I say this. I don't want people to mistake the place of strength I'm talking from. This is just years of, messing up. You know how they do construction and they have the, what is it called? Like the sewer is open. Sometimes I was walking, I was doing good and I fall in. Then I got to climb back up and, get on path on back on top of the street, because I wasn't paying attention. It happens. So sometimes we got to laugh it off, and just, maybe find somebody who can be a supportive system or somebody that is a good outlet. I don't know, learn how to play the piano, the guitar, color, let's go back to the fundamentals. Get a coloring book, go to the dollar store, color, just find something that can just help you not put so much pressure on yourself. So that's something I can give because I just went through it a couple days ago. So
I go through it every day.
Yeah. Yes, it was just one of those days. So yeah.
All right. So I know we're close and I'm close to opening up the floor so you can really go under the scope with the guests.
Okay.
Share. So products, resources, where can we find you? Tell us more about your any websites, where we can find you on social media, your nonprofit.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so let me go through them one by one. Facebook, you can find me Sharmayne Bolling. For Pretty Girls Inc., just type in Pretty Girls Inc. And then for the boutique, Stealing a Boutique. All three of those platforms are on Facebook. Okay, on Instagram, for Pretty Girls, it's pretty_girls Inc. 1. Okay, pretty_girls Inc. 1. For the boutique, Stealing a Boutique. For my personal platform on Instagram, it's Pretty Sharmayne. Okay. For Pretty Girls, the website, if you just want to kind of, take a quick look at some of the things we have done. Unfortunately, quarantine has kind of interrupted our hands-on initiative with our girls in the community. It is www.prettygirlsinc.org. So you can go there. As far as the books are concerned, Highway to Healing and The Moment I Forgave Her, those are both on Amazon. You can get those off of Amazon. Just type in my name, Sharmayne Bolling, and they both will pop up. So you can get both of those off of Amazon. And I think I said them all. Yes, okay. I think I said them all. Yeah. Slowly, I was like, let me make sure. And then obviously on any of those platforms, or if Facebook is easier, because we're actually on Facebook, just find my name. And then if you want to inbox me, professionally, I'll just put that out there so we all can, you can just inbox me if you have other questions, and then I can direct you. Okay. If you didn't hear everything I said. So.
All right. So about did you elaborate on your nonprofit a little bit about it? I like to hear about nonprofits. Okay.
Okay. I can give a little bit. Yes, I'll give a little bit more in depth because I felt like I was talking too much. But,
no, you okay. We're therapists. Like, you okay.
And that's why I'm like probably talking the most, because that's what we do, trying to help. But anyway, so the nonprofit, I started it back in 2010, and we'll be 10 years old December 20th. And I'm so excited, and I cannot believe we're going to be 10 years old in December. That's crazy, because I felt like we just started it 2 years ago. So that means that we've been having fun, and we really been, connecting with our young women. And actually we had some adult women events too, but I'll get there. So with Pretty Girls Inc., we focus on self-esteem, as I mentioned before. we focus on etiquette, we focus on academic excellence, and we focus on healthy alternatives. And all of those platforms we use to connect with our young ladies to really, like I said, plant seeds. I think that's the best way to put it, because like I tell the girls, you're not going to change overnight. You all are growing up. You all are going to face that teenage phase where you're just trying to figure it out. So some of the things that we may teach you or we may say or help you, it may not click for you in that moment, but we're just planting seeds right now, because at some point it's all going to grow and come together.
Yes.
So we were having workshop classes with the girls where we meet monthly, and we would have like special guests come in that would be able to meet them where they were on topics that, deal with our platform. We would have father-daughter dances. So it was so amazing, because the fathers would basically go on a date with their daughters. And that was a time for the fathers to really build that relationship, because as we all know, and if you don't know, the foundation of a father is so important in a girl's life. That is where a lot of her esteem comes from. So we definitely had a platform for that. So that was so cute. The girls would dress up, and, the fathers would put on their suits, and, they would dance with their daughters. And I think one time, did a father get a limo one year? I could be wrong, but I know a father like rented a car, like they got into it. I mean, it was just fun. And it was just so special to see men, in that way. And there are real fathers out there. So, and we wanted to decrease that picture, that, that statistic that there's no good fathers. There are good fathers out there. So we did that. I mentored 2 schools in Ohio for 2 years consecutively. So I developed a curriculum. So I would go into the school every week, and the school, they would direct a specific group of girls who they felt just needed a little boost or a little bit of encouragement in the classroom. So they would send the girls to me, and then we would, just kind of review some different fun, activities and things as such. And then we would have I'm trying to think of all the things. We would have our iGrow conferences where we would and have guests come in, and we would give the girls t-shirts and free prizes and food, and we would have different classes where they would rotate. And that basically was just to pour into their character, not talk at them and, do this, do that. But we were just talking to them. Like, we're just here to help you. We want you to, be the best that you can be. We always have an atmosphere with them, atmosphere of fun. We love on them, because a lot of girls that come to us, some of them come from stable homes and some of them don't.
Mm-hmm.
And we we just meet them where they are. Wherever you are, that's where we're going to meet you. And we just love on them. We support them. We just want them to be the best version of themselves. So that's pretty much it. I think I answered your question more in depth of what we do. So yeah. Oh, and shout out to my staff. I have 7 lovely women who work with me with the girls. And every time I come with a crazy vision, or I'm like, okay, I want to do this, I want this done, they support the vision. So they are God sent women. So I just want to, put that out there too, that I have a great team and staff for Pretty Girls Inc. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right. I have one question for you.
Okay, I'm ready, I think.
It says, what's a practical first step to start forgiving yourself when you are the person who hurt someone?
Ooh, that's good. Well, you know what? I did this activity, and what we had to do was we actually had to write a letter. So I'm gonna explain what the activity is, and then we'll flip it. We had to actually write a letter to the person that hurt us and let them know what they did, and then also write how we played a part as well. So I think a first step would be to write that letter, actually explaining and in detail saying what you did to that person and how you can change, how you want to change the scenario. So I think you should do that first. And and the fact that you can admit that you were the one who was wrong, I think in God's timing, because sometimes we say sorry too fast. Am I making sense? Sometimes we say it too fast and it's not received. But sometimes if we let just a little bit of time go by and maybe just kind of asking God, like, Lord, when it's the right time, please give me the words to say so that, you know, we can forgive each other in that moment. But I think once you do that and just really admit what you did wrong and how you want to change it, I think maybe the next step would be to obviously forgive yourself for making that mistake, and then maybe go to that person with time and maybe talk about it when things are calm, and say sorry and actually do better after you say I'm sorry. So I think that would be the thing I would suggest.
You know, can I ask you this? Look, now here I go with the trick question. Along with this question, so if
Mm-hmm.
you do say, you know, you go back to them and talk and then apologize, and just knowing that that person may not accept your apology at that time,
Yep. That's the
and
other side.
being okay with that. Okay, that was it.
Oh, that okay. Mm-hmm.
All
And
right.
that's good too. You have to, I'm sorry, I just want to piggyback. That's really good too, because when you go back into that situation, you forgive yourself, you know, you're I guess okay, you know, at that point, you have to be ready to know that it may not go the way that you think it's gonna go either. So, and that's still a part of that healing process and forgiving yourself, that things may not be the same. So, yep, that's good.
All right, awesome. All right, Choice.
So how do you handle when you run across that same situation with different people? You know, you have people that can act the same as another person that has caused harm or hurt you. How do you handle that when you see that same thing going on with other people? And then go to that one, because my other question went right out of my head. Then I'll
Okay.
ask.
Okay, I'll answer that one. So I feel like if you see similar personalities or like similar behaviors in somebody else that you were possibly traumatized from, that's what you were asking. I was gonna be funny and say run, but definitely make sure you are alert, because now here's two different things. Now, if it's a person that you actually have to deal with, because there's that version, some, you know, in the
Mhm.
workplace or in an organization and you have to deal with that person, make sure you are alert. And if you are not able to work with that person because you become triggered again and it's something that you can't handle, then I suggest that you either talk to, you know, your boss, or talk to who's over the group, and maybe remove yourself, because you don't want to re-traumatize yourself and have to start over, especially if you can recognize those similar behaviors. You know what I mean? So I think you need to really determine, is this something that I am strong enough to deal with? And be okay if you're not strong enough to deal with it. Because if you made that much progress, you need to keep making progress. And sometimes you just have to say, you know what? Can't participate this time, to protect yourself. So sometimes you just have to protect you. You have to be selfish sometimes for the sake of your
Mhm.
sanity and your heart. You have to be selfish. So that's what I would say.
And then when you was talking about writing a letter to someone, okay, so it's about the part where you forgive someone, but they don't know you have forgiven them. And you're
Mm-hmm.
okay because that person is no longer in your presence. But the minute you see that individual, things change. How do you handle stuff like that? How would you handle the situation?
So how did I handle that situation when I wrote that letter and I came in contact with that person again? Because that was a real life situation. It was real. Like I had to, like I said, it's a highway, and I literally was dealing. What I'm talking about is stuff that I actually have dealt with. I'm not just blowing smoke. But what I did
Telling me I
was,
need to write that letter.
it was very, and you know what, it was very therapeutic to write that letter, because I really was able to denounce that shame and denounce the hurt that I was dealing with, like writing that letter to that person. And you know, you're not going to send it to them, but you got to get
That
that
part.
toxicity out. Yeah, you're not sending it to them. Don't,
Okay.
you know, we're not sending them the letter. It's just something, it's just a personal tool that we can use, you know, to heal in our private time, you know, because some things need to be private, you know what I mean, for you to
Yes.
be honest. But anyway,
Thank you for clearing that.
oh yeah. No, I didn't send it. No. This was just for my personal homework that we were given. No, I didn't send it. But to answer your question, when I did see whoever the couple letters were written to, I was civil. Let me put it that way. That's a word. I was trying to look for a word. I was civil. I was very careful. And then I regressed from the situation. Am I making sense?
Yes.
So I was civil. Hi, how are you? Because if you can get to that point, and then I think in that moment I had to like maybe self-assess in my head to be like, okay, can you do this? Or do we need to leave? You have to do that because like I said, you don't want to re-traumatize yourself. So I really had to self-assess in that moment after I was civil and calm. Like, are we okay to stay here in the same vicinity with this person? Can we handle it? Is my girl here that she can kind of, you know what I mean?
Step in.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because you just have certain people that can just, they'd be like, girl, I know. So I'm gonna sit right here next to you. If you need me, if we need to leave and go to Burger King, which, whatever. I got you, girl. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just have certain people you can kind of depend on because they know. So yeah, I just think in those moments, I think to answer your question, you have to self-assess the situation because, everybody has their own spectrum of severity of that situation. So.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I like that what you were talking about the letter, because I'm a big advocate on telling my clients to write. I call them resentment letters, and I say, so you're gonna write 2 sets. You write the resentment letters to dump how you're feeling, so you'll be able to tolerate that person. But don't send that letter.
Right. Don't send it.
Another one. Send another one that's much better.
Right.
And it's okay when you trying to like forgive yourself and you come to that realization that it was what somebody else did to me, or if I hurt someone, even if you have to write that letter to yourself to talk about, getting all of that ugly, all of that hurt, all of that out on paper. And to piggyback off what Sharmayne was saying, it is so powerful and therapeutic to write it. I mean, granted, we can text, so I know we're in the text world, but you can text like nothing. There's no feelings while you sending that out, or you can say it, and I don't know how your words are going to come out. But when it's something that you have to do for that self-inventory, especially when it's a topic as sensitive as forgiving yourself, whether something happened to you or you did something to someone else, getting that journal, writing it down, feeling those words is what helps you get free as well.
Right.
So yeah. All right. Anyone else have a question or would like to share? All right. Oh, there's my sister. She's getting ready to share. Go ahead,
Okay.
Carla. I thought she was gonna share. Did she freeze? I think she may have froze. She may be frozen right now. So look, come back, Carla. We'll ask your question. Anyone else have a question while we're waiting for Carla to unfreeze? Or like to share? Anyone
have a question, but can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. It's not that I have a question, but just, I'm agreeing with what you ladies are saying regarding forgiving yourself and things of that. Because I know for myself, before my betrayal in my marriage back 5-6 years ago, I was on my way to Los Angeles and God told me to get a journal. And I'm not one to really write, even though I'm an author now, but I wasn't, and it allowed me to journal stuff. But then even after the fact, I was able to go back and look at that, and it kind of helped me with my healing then, because it's like God was already, preparing me. I take it like that, and writing stuff down. And then after the fact, I kind of started writing like I was going to write a book about what had taken place, but God told me that was for my healing. So I had to, like she said, I had to see it. I had to admit to it. I had to admit my part. I had to just face it head on in order for me to, go through the healing process and get delivered and start growing and stuff. I had to see it because as I was reading it on the paper, I'm like, okay, this was real, and so it was really for my healing. It wasn't a book to be put out. It was for me. And God knew that I needed to get it out, to write it down in order to help with my healing process. So I totally agree with that. And I'm always recommending to friends that, share with me some things that they're still struggling with. And I'm always saying, well, have you ever thought to write them a letter? And, and I just kind of explain how, you're not going to get interrupted if you write a letter to them or things like that. And it helps, you get it off of you and they'll be, they can read it, take their time and read it or, however, but you got it off of you. So I use that a lot too. That tool as far as just writing, that has become so therapeutic for me as well, So that's all. I just wanted to share that part.
Thank you.
That's
All
awesome. Thank
right.
you.
All right, Carla, you ready?
You hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, I'm still used to Zoom, so I'm not that used to it. But anyway, the letter writing thing, I've been doing that for years. It seems like when I'm upset with someone or upset with myself, sometimes actually seeing it in writing actually helps you, like you said, heal. Because sometimes you overreact towards things. And you really see after you write it down, it's like, wait a minute, I was upset about that.
Right.
It gives you more clarity when you write it down. Because as Americans, we are visual learners anyway. You have to visualize. You have to see it. So if you see it, after you write it down on paper, you see, oh, okay. And then like I wrote a letter to someone, and this is no joke. I found it this morning. I wrote a letter to someone 2 years ago, and I read it to myself. I said, I was acting silly about that, and that is actually healing because after I wrote that letter, I couldn't even get mad at that person. Because sometimes that's the best way of getting your anger out is actually writing it down. Because if you sit there and just go off, that's one thing I try not to do is go off on people. Because 9 times out of 10, the person you go off on, you're going to deal with them later. So sometimes the best thing to do is write it down and calm yourself down and find a more a better way to express yourself. And but because as Black women, people see us as the ones who are gonna go off, at the drop of a dime, and that's how most people see us. So I try not to go there by writing things down and then calm myself down. And writing stuff down is the best thing to do for real. Like I said, I've been doing that. I've been doing that for over 25 years, just writing stuff down. People get on my nerve. Okay.
Thanks for sharing. Anyone else?
I used to go and play pool because I would think of the balls in everybody's head when I was upset.
Yes.
I mean, because pool was that's my game. I call myself, I am the professional. I can do all of that. But since I've been here in Arizona, I have not played. And that was my stress relief right there. You mean banging balls as hard as you want? You're not hurting anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that.
So maybe we need to start doing that. Go play pool.
Go play pool. I love it. Yeah, I love it.
And you can play as many games as you want. By the time you get to the second, third game, your mind is calm.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my.
Nice.
I like that. That's good.
Well, mine was when Kim was still in Texas, us going shopping.
Oh, retail therapy. Yes.
Yeah, that was our release.
I love it.
Going shopping and going get some Spanish food. That was our release.
Yes. Yes, retail therapy will release anything.
Oh yes. That was a nice.
I did that a couple days ago. Yes, I'm here with you. Is that Miss Carla? Is that who's talking?
Yes.
Ma'am.
Okay. Yes, Miss Carla, I support you and I approve that message. Retail therapy.
Yes, and look, at least look. Maybe not necessarily always buy, but look.
At least
Try
look,
some
right.
stuff on. Try some stuff on. You just can't just go, oh. But right now, you
Right.
can't do that much right now because everybody's scared of the corona, so you can't do it as much as you used to.
Right. I love it.
I love it too. Anyone else? I'm laughing at the chats right now.
I see.
I was laughing. Oh man. So anyone else like to share? Anyone else? Because I know we made light of it, and I do like what Sharmayne was saying about we talk about it at this level like it's easy, but that forgiving ourselves is really, really hard. Is there anyone that like to share if they're struggling with that now, or if that was a struggle for them and how they actually overcame it?
I will.
Okay.
It was a struggle for me. I had to overcome a lot of things. I'm a Texan by heart. I just live here. And no parts of me will change. I am an Austinite, 100%. And so,
Yes.
and most of my struggles were there. There's a few here also. So I have this t-shirt. I heard that song called I Forgive Me. And I went back and I kept listening to it. And it just kept saying, I forgive me. And I say, that's what's up. That's what's up. I forgive them. They may not forgive me, but what happens when I don't forgive myself? Everybody else is still going on with their life, and I'm still over here sucking and drowning and all of that mess. So I have a shirt that says, I forgive me. It took me till I turned 50 years old. I'm 55 now, so it's only been 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was 50 years old when it finally broke and that weight was lifted. And I realized that I didn't owe anybody anything. Not one thing. Now it's all about me. Now they can't handle the all about me, and they can't handle the truth. So I have to learn. And so that's where it all is. And I still, even with me gaining weight, because I lost it, I gained it back. Oh man, it's struggle because all I was in was t-shirts and blue jeans. Thankful to my friend Andrea and her online business. There's clothes for me, and I feel better. I feel 100% better because now I don't have to just put on my jeans and t-shirt and not care. Because back home, it was not accepted. I couldn't go out in public with jeans and t-shirt on. You get talked about. No, you're going to dress up like you're getting ready to go do some fine dining or something like that. So that's where I'm at now.
That's beautiful.
I thank her for her online store and her dressing me. She dresses me.
Okay. Yes, I love it. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
She's the one that says business line. She's hiding in the shadows.
I know she is hiding in the shadow. She's a good connection too. She makes clothes, designs clothes, and they're beautiful.
Okay.
I'm not hiding. I'm trying to have a 2-year-old and trying to stay where y'all staying. I'm trying to keep up.
So, but she, so it's good to have good, positive people around you. And so that has helped. And then Sherry with her book. So, and there's Gina and Kayla. It's a lot of more people on here. But, it's good to have those positive people around you.
It is. It's very good to have it. And us forgiving ourselves. So, Sharmayne, I know I was looking in the chat. I know Kayla, she said she agreed with Auntie Carla. That was a word.
Yeah, you did.
That was.
Sade says she doesn't she don't want to make Choice mad with the pool. And Kayla said that this has been so affirming, and thank you about the forgiving ourselves.
Awesome. This is great. I'm excited.
Yes. Anyone else care to share?
Hi, Kim. Gina.
Hi, Gina.
How are you?
Just fine.
Sorry, I haven't figured out how to put my picture up, but so sorry that you all are looking at a blank screen. But I like the idea about writing a letter and journaling. I think that's awesome. I'm not too sure if I'm comfortable about keeping the letter because, and what I was thinking of was like having an old love letter from a boyfriend or a girlfriend and they're your ex. If you keep the letter, you're stirring up feelings and emotions that was connected to that letter. So I don't know if I read somewhere or if I've actually done this, or it's going in the shredder. That's how I'm going to forgive. That's how I'm going to move on. It's going in the shredder. I'm having that waiting to exhale moment in the fireplace with it, because I
Burn
don't
it.
be reminded of those feelings of that event. So possibly the next time I see this person, or the next of who caused the hurt, who caused the hurt to me, I can deal with them face to face, because I'm not rewinding that in my head over and over. Now, if it's something that I should learn from for myself, yeah, I think I'm going to hold on to it. But something that I'm trying to forget, forgive, move on, I don't know if I'm holding on to that letter to be reminded 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now that this took place, or how I felt during that time.
Yeah,
Sounds good, Miss Gina.
it does. You can definitely, yeah, the therapeutic part is not only, that's a good point, not only writing it down. I know, like Carla said, in her case, she can go back and read and be like, what the what? You know, it could be this small or whatever. But then on the other hand, when it is the deep stuff, like you were sharing, Gina, it's true. After you write these resentment letters, either shredding them, burning them, destroying them, and just allowing that to go however you get rid of it. Because I know when I have people write the resentment letters or these type of letters, especially if it's me getting rid of that trauma, or how somebody hurts me, or how I feel about someone, I mean, those words may come out pretty harsh, but I need to release that because it's inside of me anyway. And writing it down, shredding it, burning it, so I always tell people, tear it up if you're going to throw it away. Then it's like, and then telling yourself, I'm done. And you'll feel like that sense of release. And it
Yeah,
may not feel, oh my gosh, this feels great, but you have actually released those deep feelings, those deep rooted feelings.
yeah, it's like laying it at the altar. I'm
Yes,
want to keep
That's good.
picking it up every time I turn the block, you know?
right. Exactly.
That's good.
Carla, were you going to say something?
Yes, that letter I was telling you about. Now, usually I do rip them up, I shred them, but there was that one I accidentally kept, and I must have kept it for a reason. I don't know what the reason was, but maybe I wasn't at that point to forgive that person. Usually I write it and I read it to myself out loud, and then I get rid of it. But that was that one time I didn't do that, so I guess I didn't forgive that person at that time, and I kept it. But I've never kept a letter that long. Usually it's within a few minutes after I write it, I read it, and I tear it right up. Because like I say, we're supposed to let it go. You can't let it go if you're constantly reading it. But that one letter, I'm like, I just happened to come across it again. And I read it today. I mean, yesterday I just tore it up, and I thought it was funny because I was thinking like that, you know, at that time. I don't believe I was thinking like that at that time, you know. And it was an ex, so it was like, you know, I was upset about it, but you know, once I wrote the letter, I was fine because I talked to him after that, and we stayed friends right after that, you know. But you know, it is what it is now, so I'm good, you know. But like I said, I kept it. I don't believe I kept it. Usually, I don't keep those letters. I tear them up right away after I read them back to myself out loud. But I have to do it when no one's around me because I don't know about everybody in my business. But I still read it to myself so that way I have clarity. Because like I said, sometimes you don't realize you say something. Sometimes when you get upset with somebody, you say something that later on you say, "Oh, I wish I never said." You can write that in a letter. You can write that down. Because a lot of times after you say it out loud, you realize, man, what was I feeling? Was I being jealous? Was I being just hateful? It's better to write it down than to say it out loud. Because because whenever you talk to anybody, you should talk to them in the most calmest manner possible. Especially all us grown women over here, because we can't act like a child. Children say whatever comes to their mind. A grown-up should be able to address things correctly, and most of us do not do that. That's the reason why that letter is always good. But like I said, I usually tear them up right away. That's why I got that shredder for. I got 2 of them. So that's why I shred them right away.
And you know what? I like that. And even I know we were talking about writing the letters like to people that may have wronged us, or if we may have hurt someone as well. But we can also, tying back to Sharmayne's book, write those letters to ourselves to forgive ourselves. The resentments we may have for the choices that we made. We can very well write those letters to ourselves, and just like Carla and Miss Gina was saying, and everyone else was saying, take those letters, tear them up, and start over. Chapter 5, start over.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't have to be your conclusion. That doesn't have to be your ongoing story. You do start over.
You know what I did before? I have 2 email addresses, so I emailed myself a letter from one email address to the other one, because I was mad at something, because it was something that went on, and I went ahead and emailed myself, and then I went back and read it, and I said, ooh, because it was to me, from me to me, and I read it, and I'm like, why was I thinking that? What was the problem with what I was thinking? Sometimes it gives you a lot of clarity to write anything. It's just like when you take a test in school. When you was in school, the things that the teacher told you didn't all stay up in there. But if you actually wrote it down, and then later on, sometimes even if you didn't go back and read it, it's just the idea you read, you heard it, and you wrote it. Some of that stays in there just a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
So that writing is very important to me. Just writing things down, period. It helps, like I said, it helps with clarity a lot.
Exactly. Keandra, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say, like, I like her concept and what she's talking about and writing it down. While I was cleaning off his table, and the Lord was like, "You remember?" And I was like, "No, I don't remember." And he was like, "So I used to write letters when I was a fighter, but I was physical fight, because that's how I was taught to deal with stuff, and I would win, so it seemed like it was all right. But then as I grew up, I started writing letters to God, because I guess I was so angry. So if I switch who I was talking to, then my attitude would be better. So I started writing letters, and then I moved here in 2010 to Arizona, and I started doing it again. Started writing letters. I would be at my desk at work because I would just be, just angry, just so much stuff, people that's hurt me, people that I haven't let go of, so much stuff. And it's crazy because then it's like, well, Lord, I done wrote all this stuff, and people come to my desk, looking at my desk, think I'm crazy, writing letters to Jesus. And he was like, see, here's your book that you don't have to write later. And so take those letters. I was going to tell her, you take those letters, and when you're writing your book and you're telling people who you are, when you're ready for that and doing your purpose, you put those letters in there and tell people where you were at that place and in that mindset, and then how God met you. And so you're actually writing and creating your whole platform and not even know it. So God uses everything. So I think it's amazing.
Wow, thank you. That's good. That
Right.
Powerful. I know, right?
Yes. I was like, yes. I love that. That's beautiful.
Yes. All right, y'all. Anyone else before we close the show out? Y'all are filling me up.
Yeah, I know. This is good.
This was. Anyone? All right, Sharmayne. So let me give you the floor again to let us know where to find you. This is her book. One thing I forgot to mention about The Moment I Forgave Her. It's not only a read, it also has places in here for you to write. and do things in the book as well. And I've told people before, Sharmayne, I love books and I don't write in them because they're so nice and I just treasure them. I write on paper. But she has places for you to write in here. So the other book, Highway to Healing, I have to get that book. And The Moment I Forgave Her. Sharmayne, where can we find you?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. And then also on I'm sorry, let me break this down for those who maybe that did not hear earlier. On Facebook, it's Sharmayne Bolling. On Instagram, it's Pretty Sharmayne. So if you have any further questions, feel free to inbox me and I can answer those questions for you concerning the book. Or if you have any like other therapeutic questions, I'm always here to serve as well in the mental health field as well. So you can find me there. And then the books, Highway to Healing and The Moment I Forgave Her, you can find both of those on Amazon. Just type in my name and they'll both come up. And then also, Kim, to piggyback, I am working on a workbook right now that complements both books. So you can write in that one. So just stick with me, follow me, I'll follow you back. And then that way you'll be able to have access, and then you can also get the workbook that will go along so that you can have all 3 books. And then the workbook is something that I'm creating. And I say in the beginning of the workbook, this is not for you to just journal and get through the workbook fast and as if like, oh, I got to turn it in. This is just a book for you to take your time and work through your process of healing. So that's coming up too. So I'm so excited that God is just allowing me to serve his people. Like that's all I'm doing is just serving. Whatever he gives me, I put out because obviously it's for a reason. So thank you everybody who joined in. This was beautiful. I got filled up. It's just amazing how we all came together. And this is what it's about, us coming together and just encouraging one another and talking about our stories and, just applauding each other on and different things. So this was great. I love it. So and I'm going to try to learn how to play pool. My mom has a pool table, so I'm going to try to learn because my coordination is terrible. But that's a good tool, so I'm going to try it.
It's the best thing you could ever do.
Yes.
It's
so
one of the best things. One of the best things you could do.
Okay, well, I'm going to try.
So
beautiful. Yeah.
This was, thank you so much again. And I'm definitely staying connected. I should be your way soon. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted. I have your number, and I want to thank everybody again. There would be no Under the Scope if it wasn't you coming here with me, and each and every person on this platform. You're not here by mistake. You are influential, and you're very influential to me. And so next Saturday, I'm taking a break next Saturday because my daughter's getting married next Saturday. Yeah, and now she's off now. I don't know where. She's probably getting ready for the wedding. So I'm really excited about that. I'll be back on the 17th, and I'm excited about who's coming on the show. Stay tuned. I'll keep everyone posted. But as of now, I want to thank everybody for staying a little bit after 2, staying here with me, coming each and every Saturdays, 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Under the Scope, where good tea and good reads are welcome. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Sharmayne.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank everyone for coming.
Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Thanks, Grandma, for coming. Tell Phyllis I said thank you.
She said you're welcome.
Okay. Bye.
Okay,
and I'll be in touch.
Yes, please do.
All right.
We're connected. Okay.
All right. Bye.
All right.